Well, I think that we all stand for our intended national contributions. And I'm confident that for the UK and for Europe, for Norway and for all the others, we will, if we have put our signature under the Paris Agreement, stand for that signature. And I don't think that Brexit will influence that.
There's obviously the EU was planning to release its plan for effort sharing amongst all 28 member states. That obviously won't be 28 anymore. How do you see that affecting the relative burdens that countries will have to adopt? Because the UK, like other major countries in the region, was taking on a bit more than its kind of share, if you like.
Well, obviously, we already see that sometimes it's complicating when some countries are not longer a member of the EU in future anymore. But at the same time, for now, the Article 50 procedure didn't start yet. So at the moment, we work still aligned as 28 countries. And I think that it is also very necessary that you see that even those countries who are not really an active member of the EU sometimes organize themselves on climate or environmental issues with the EU in order to be the best effective partner they can. So that will still remain a good option also for the UK.
And in terms of EU coordination, you have the Petersburg Climate Dialogue on Sunday next week. What do you think are the key things that EU environment and climate ministers will be discussing in light of this?
Well, I think that we will discuss how to work our way forward to Marrakesh, to the next COP. And I think that the agenda didn't change because of this. I mean, I know that there is a lot of political debate and there will be a lot of negotiations. But if you look at environment policy, it really has no borders. So all countries who have been on board for the Paris Agreement will still be on board, and we can align as we already do with Switzerland or other countries which are not member of the EU, but we closely cooperate when it comes to environmental issues, and I think that we are still able to do so, and that is also the signal I got from the British government.
And in terms of the Netherlands, what's your timeline for the ratification of the Paris Agreement? What hurdles and loops do you have to jump through to sort of get that signed off domestically?
Well, it's a good question, and the best answer is ASAP, because that's really necessary. And at the same time, we see that there has been a declaration also during the Environment Council, and the Dutch presidency has been advocating for this to put pressure on all of us. Obviously, we have to respect the legislation in the countries. In my country, for instance, we need to also roll out legislation that takes some time. But our goal is to be as soon as possible ready and to stand united as European Union, because we were actually on the High Ambition Coalition, and it is my personal interest and also goal to stay on this High Ambition Coalition.
Final question on the High Ambition Coalition, because we know Marshall Islands Minister Tony de Bruijn is very keen this continues and it really sort of ramps up its efforts throughout the year. What do you think it can realistically achieve, and do you think that to be a member of the High Ambition Coalition, countries should really demonstrate they are delivering, not just saying?
Yeah, that's true. I think that we should deliver, and for instance my country is also an expert on adaptation. So we're not only looking at our own mitigation goals, which obviously is something we are accountable for and to held accountable for, but at the same time we can share our expertise with those countries who are not coping with, for instance, flooding, etc. And even we are now going to organize trade missions on climate, because we really want to make a business model on climate solutions, and that is a game changer we need. It has to be something which is also economically interesting for business to invest in, and I am sure that the Dutch will succeed in this.